Hello, I'm United States Senator Saxby Chambliss, and I appreciate you tuning in to our YouTube video today. You know, we're in some very difficult times in this country right now. We're in the midst of two military conflicts in addition to the conflict that's going on in Libya, which the NATO is fronting, of course, but the United States is the major player from a NATO standpoint. I am very disturbed about any number of issues relative to the Libyan situation, and I think the President has failed to provide the right kind of leadership that we need in this conflict. Look, America needs to be all in or all out. We don't go in halfway in any military conflict, and frankly that's exactly what's happened here. As a result of that, and as a result of the United States not playing the leadership role that it always has in military conflicts, you're seeing Gaddafi probably regain the upper hand, and it looks like the best that can be hoped for there now is a stalemate. I don't think that's good for Americans, nor do I think that's good for Middle Easterners or folks in other parts of the world. With respect to another issue regarding our military, those of you who are in the Fort Stewart area, we are hoping that we're going to be adding to your population. The Pentagon has made a decision to bring one of the European brigades home, and we're very hopeful that that brigade is going to come to Fort Stewart. We hope that the Pentagon will look with favor upon bringing that brigade out of Europe and moving it to Fort Stewart. Lastly, let me say that the number one issue in America today is the issue of our debt and our deficit. We've just passed a continuing resolution that's going to finally get the 2011 budget resolved. We're now moving into 2012, and certainly this is going to be a very critical year from a budgetary standpoint. We've got to reduce federal spending, and the 2012 budget is going to be the key to just how much politicians are willing to say that we are spending too much, and just how much they're going to be willing to listen to the American people who have said, both at the ballot box and otherwise, that Washington needs to get his fiscal house in order and stop this runaway federal spending. Once we get by the budget, though, there's a bigger issue looming ahead of us, and that's the issue of the $14 trillion debt that America now faces. You know, every day we fail to do something about retiring that $14 trillion debt. The deficit goes up by somewhere between $3 and $4 billion. That is simply unsustainable. Today, our debt, as it relates to the gross national product, is at 62%. That is not out of control yet, but it means that we have a very small window within which to get our debt and our deficit under control. We're not going to be able to do it simply by reducing discretionary spending in the budget, and the reason we can't is that discretionary spending, non-defense discretionary spending, comprises 12% of our annual budget. And we just simply can't balance the budget by just reducing that discretionary spending. We've got to look at reforming entitlements, and we can do it in a reasonable way so that our seniors are well protected, that we will not see any diminution in their value or their checks. Also, from a Medicare standpoint, we can make sure that Medicare is going to be sustained for the long term, and that valuable program will be around forever and ever. But we've got to be responsible, and we've got to be realistic. So there are a number of issues that are out there right now regarding the debt and the deficit that have to be addressed, and very honestly, I was significantly disappointed in the President's speech this week when he sought to lay out his plan for how we address the debt and the deficit. His speech was nothing but pure politics and sounded like the campaign trail of '08. We need for this President to really step forward and not talk about taxing the most wealthy and spending more money on domestic programs. That's not going to solve our problem. We've got to be realistic, and we've got to not talk in terms of increasing taxes and increasing spending. We've got to talk in terms of reforming our tax code and decreasing spending, both discretionary spending and entitlement spending, And the leadership coming from the administration today is simply not there. We're going to keep working as members of Congress to try to make sure that America does get its fiscal house in order. And very honestly, it's not a question of is it going to happen. It's either going to happen by decisions that are made here in Washington within this window of opportunity that we have to move towards balancing the budget, move towards getting back to surplus in our budget so that we can begin paying down this debt, or those individuals and countries that buy our debt, mainly the Chinese, are going to dictate to us at some point that we're not going to buy your debt if you don't do these things. So we need to do it on our terms and under our schedule. And I'm very hopeful that as policymakers here in Washington become more aware of just how serious this problem is, that we'll find the right kind of solution that's best for America. God bless you.